Hey everyone, welcome to the 21st episode of the Brothers of Broad Street podcast. I'm here with our man Bryce Ellig. My name's Jim Croger. Big episode tonight. We're going to be discussing the football games coming up this weekend. This past Monday night's game, which if you didn't take a look, check out your DVR, rewatch it. I mean, that game between the Raiders and Ravens is all time. I mean,
that might be a top 10 game I ever watched. That had no significance, not like a playoff game.
In terms of back and forth and both teams going at it and both teams between the turnovers and the onside kick and then the goal line interception, that game kind of reminded me to that Monday night game a couple years ago with the Rams and the Chiefs. Remember when that was back and forth?
I was at Charlie's for that game. It was unbelievable.
Dude, that was another all-time game. And I remember, I don't know who I texted, but when the Ravens kicked that field goal to go up 27-24, I texted somebody game's over or whatever. And then I just hear a bunch of screaming going on in the house and the freaking Raiders came back. It was crazy.
I'm not going to lie. I thought for sure, I don't know what was in me. I thought for sure that game was destined for overtime. I knew they were going to come down the field. When they lined up for the 55-yarder, I don't know what it is because Carlson's an iffy kicker. He's been pretty good for the Raiders, but to me, I had no doubt. I mean, you knew Tucker was never missing it. Tucker, you could make him kick that.
There was a statistic before that field goal. He has hit 47 consecutive fourth quarter field goals. 47.
You talk crazy consistent. I mean, I know Adam Vinatieri is the greatest of all time, but man, I got to say, Justin Tucker's right behind him.
Tucker will go down top 5.
For sure. It's just the issue is Adam Vinatieri, obviously the winning. I mean, he's got 4 rings.
And he did it at the highest level, Vinatieri.
Yeah, I got to say, I mean, Tucker, man, is there not a kicker in the world? I don't think I'd take a kicker ever over him kicking a game-winning field goal. It's 60 yards, 20 yards.
I mean, us Phillies fans, David Akers all the way. But
yeah, you got to love Akers, but I mean,
dude, Tucker's good.
Tucker's unbelievable. Yeah, he's something else.
Yeah, I believe he was a former soccer player, and then someone came up to him and said yo, you should try kicking field goals or something.
I know he kicked at Texas. I just found that out 2 days ago because I was watching the Texas game and they were talking about all-time alum, and he came up on the list. It was Vince Young, Ricky Williams, all these great players, and then just Justin Tucker.
Yo, that's a good question I have to ask you. I remember a couple years ago we were watching a college football game, and the question came up where did Terrell Owens go to college? Do you know where he went?
Chattanooga. Yeah, of course.
Because the game was between Alabama and Chattanooga, and someone asked because they were talking about Terrell Owens because they bring up alum to discuss different things to talk about, and someone said where did Terrell Owens go to school? And we're like, oh, he went to Chattanooga, sarcastically. And then it came up Chattanooga wide receiver from this state.
The only reason I know that, I know I'm crazy, my sports knowledge and stuff, but the only reason I know that is because I remember he's the only guy that get inducted into the Hall of Fame, but he chose to go back to his college. And I'm like, where did he go to college? Auburn, Bama, and it was Chattanooga. And I was like, what?
Crazy. There's actually
that's Jerry Rice went to just Alabama Southern or something. He went to some random school too.
Yo, literally. You go anywhere as long as you get that opportunity, you can make something.
I always say, as long as you're good, the NFL will find you.
It does not matter. And I don't know if I think I brought it up before, but the new podcast with Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay, he brings on guys, and he brought on Terrell Owens, and that was actually a great episode. So check that out if you haven't yet.
Oh yeah, Terrell Owens is just electric. I mean,
yeah,
he wants to play in the NFL still. I mean, he's just electric.
He looks like he can, dude. He's shredded.
He ran with
shape.
He kept in stride with Tyreek Hill, which means he's probably as fast as a good amount of wide receivers in the league. I mean, he's a beast. He's top 3 wide receiver of all time, in my opinion. I mean, he was a beast. His personality it's like anything. His personality just overtook everything. I mean, when you think Terrell Owens, you think of him doing sit-ups in the front yard.
That's why I bring up. He does talk about what went on with the whole sit-ups in the parking lot in front of the cameras and everything. But if you get free time, check that out. And for those listening, check out Club Shay Shay podcast with Shannon Sharp and Terrell Owens. It's a very good episode. But check that out after you watch the Brothers of Broad Street, obviously. We're also going to discuss, we're going to do top underrated players and overrated players. I know with the NFL starting back up again, A lot of reporters and analysts like to get, very high or very low on some guys. So Bryce and I will break that down, and we'll also give you live updates of the Phillies game. Bryce, 19 games left. Phillies dropped one to the Cubs last night. Bad series against the Rockies, losing 3 or 4. We're currently 3 games out of the wild card and 4.5 out of the division. Do you see the Phils making the playoffs, yes or no?
Yes, I believe it is destiny for the Philadelphia Phillies to make the playoffs. I don't know what's going to happen. To me, I think the Mets are done. I don't know what. I just think they're slowly slipping. I think they're 7.5 games back. I just don't think the Mets are in this. I understand the Braves are getting hot at the right time.
They always do in the month of August.
They always get hot over these last couple of years. Always get hot late. But to me, and I just me personally, I just think this year is different. I think they are destined for playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to make it far. They're going to go to the World Series or anything crazy. I do think they might not get the wild card, but I think somehow, some way, something crazy might happen and they might win the division, because I think the Reds are really, really hot right now. They're going to be a tough team to surpass. They've got they actually have the easiest schedule in the MLB to finish out the season.
Well, so right now you have the Dodgers, just because the Giants are unbelievable this year, and we got to talk about that with Gabe Kapler and that Giants organization. I mean, do they have big names?
They are the San Antonio Spurs of baseball over the last 10 years. They don't ever really bring in huge names. They have Buster Posey, who obviously is still
MVP catcher,
still keeping it up 10 years later. They got Evan Longoria, who's out of his prime but still a solid player. They've got plenty of.
They brought in Chris Bryant at the deadline. That was a huge addition.
That was huge for them, and they've got great pitching. And it's just they're one of those teams that just hangs around, and they're always good. They're just always good, especially over the last 10 years. Well, I thought that would end when Bochy retired, but no, continue. I guess Gabe Kapler wasn't as bad as a coach as we all thought he was.
You just need the pieces there. You just need the pieces in place. And, talking about underrated and overrated, there was an article written about the Giants before the season started by either someone from MLB.com or something that had the Giants winning no more than 75 games. And the Giants became the first team to clinch a playoff spot the other night with 93 wins.
Yeah, that's a freezing cold take by that guy.
It just goes to show it's crazy. I don't see them winning the I think we had a conversation like this the other night. I don't see them winning the World Series.
No.
When you go up, say they play the Dodgers. Who's got the more experience as a manager, Dave Roberts or Kapler? Roberts was there as a player in late postseason. Kapler,
stole the base against the Yankees.
Yeah.
That big, that
was a good series.
They came back, yeah.
But I think obviously the Dodgers have much better pitching, and they were just in the World Series last year. But we'll get into that later. But you do see the Phillies coming away strong at the end of the season, making the playoffs and getting in.
I do. I think it's destiny, Jim. That's it. That's the only thing I have. Not the fact that Bryce Harper's been playing unbelievable and some players have been playing good, some players have been playing bad. But to me, it's just destiny. Some things are just supposed to happen. They're meant to happen. The Phillies are meant to make the playoffs this year. They're just going to get in. They're going to find a way. That's
a question that comes up in my mind every single season. I feel like, where would the Phillies be without Bryce Harper? Honestly, where would the Phillies be? I think way below the Mets in the division, and not even in contention for the wild card.
It would be like the equivalent of what the Rangers are right now. Just bad, just real bad.
Because
not exciting, no one fun, no one's going to the ballpark to watch them.
No flair, no excitement, no enthusiasm. Because when you watch this team, Didi struggled this year. Alec Boehm got sent down. We don't have that much pitching outside of Wheeler. Nola's not having a good year. Hoskins has been hurt, and Real Muto has been hurt. So the guys that have really been stepping up for us are Torreyes,
Odubel Herrera,
Freddie Galvis, Odubel Herrera,
Majid Segura. Obviously, he had an all-star season.
And those young guys like Nick Williams, Janikowski, and who's the other guy? Maton
had a really good season. He was a no-name prospect. He just caught up for to put up, give him a chance, and he played really well this season.
Yeah, so it's just crazy. I've never been more grateful that we have Bryce Harper in Philadelphia. He's keeping us in this. So for those out there, Bryce's best bets. He's got the Phillies reaching the postseason for the first time since 2011. It'd be great to have postseason baseball back in Philadelphia. The brothers of Broad Street will 100% be going to a game.
Oh, we will be there.
If and when they get in. Would you rather see the Phillies win the division or sneak in with the wild card?
Win their division.
Okay.
I want them. It's a confidence thing. It's just something I believe that I don't know. I just think they're meant to do it. There's no other reason why. I just think it's faith. Like it's just deep in my gut. I think they're going to make it.
The division would definitely be an easier, like, first round. If you win the division, I think you'd be the 3rd seed, and then you play the 4th. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if
Yeah,
you
no,
if you get in with the wild card, you're facing the Dodgers first round, and I just don't see anybody beating that Dodgers team. I mean, did you see what they did last night? Trey
no.
Turner hitting a home run.
The only person playing bad for them is Cody Bellinger. He's had a really bad season. I don't know what it is with him. The Dodgers fans are like on him. They keep like all I see is like videos and Twitter all like Cody Bellinger sucks, but I'm like the rest of the team is so good. So like why?
Bellinger will catch fire at some point. He always does.
Yeah, it just might not be. I mean, players have bad years. It's just part of the thing. Baseball's a tough sport. They're gonna have bad years.
I got this fly flying around right now. You see that?
Yeah.
It's our guest for tonight. But let's switch gears real quick. Let's go to football. My cousin Mark sent me this today, and we were just talking about before the show about Jalen Hurts. And for those listening, SportsCenter posted this fact today. Jalen Hurts has more regular season 300-yard passing games in 5 career starts than Lamar Jackson has in 38 career starts. Jalen Hurts has 2 games of that nature. Lamar Jackson only has 1. Now, when you see that statistic, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
With me, I mean, everybody knows the same thing, and I think everyone would agree. Lamar Jackson is considered more of a run-first quarterback than a passer, and he's been trying to prove that over the last couple of years. Obviously, this makes him look really, really bad when it comes to that stat. But I mean, you even saw the other night with the Raiders. I mean, I think the big thing though is Lamar has proven me wrong. I was really low on him coming in. I can admit that. I was definitely wrong about him. I didn't think he would translate well to the NFL. I thought he'd get injured quick. He didn't. But the one thing I'll give Lamar credit is the fact that people don't talk about this enough. He's able to have the Ravens win. Yes, he hasn't had success in the playoffs, which is going to hurt him. And for right now, it's hurting him a lot. But the big thing is his wide receivers have been nothing short of mediocre his whole entire career so far. Yes, Mark Andrews, we can all agree, is a top 5 tight end. And yes, he's great. But his next best wide receiver he's ever had is Marquise Brown, who's kind of considered not a bust, but definitely not
a tier 1 guy. Yeah, he's not top
not
guy.
A first round. Like, you pick first round pick, you're expecting a guy like CeeDee Lamb, a guy like Devon.
He'd be a good second receiver on any team.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's not bad, and he looked good in the first game, and he looked good at the end of last year. And I think he's more of a not like Tyreek Hill type speed, and he's a 1-catch, 2-catch type guy a game. He needs someone in the slot, and I mean, they got Sammy Watkins this year. We always know how he is. He's got all the talent, but he's never healthy. He can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
I think they drafted the Bateman kid. He hasn't played yet, so we haven't seen. But yeah, I think that's a big thing when it comes to Lamar is the fact that they haven't been able to keep a solid wide receiver core around him. And he's always had a very mediocre wide receiver core, and that's one thing I'll give him credit for. I'm not surprised by the statistic. It's just the Baltimore Ravens like to run the ball a lot over the last couple of years. They've had great running backs. J.K. Dobbins.
Yep, great point.
J.K. Dobbins, was great. It was great for them last year. Mark Ingram was great for them over the last 2 seasons, and Gus Edwards was great. And now they got Williams, who looked good. They got Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell. They got somebody they're going to find that's going to be solid in that lineup. They're a run team. I mean, there's certain teams like the Chiefs like to throw the ball. Buccaneers like to throw the ball. There's certain teams in this league that like to run the football. The Steelers,
And the Ravens are one of them.
Yeah.
And the Ravens are very similar to a team like the Titans. The Titans love running it first. I mean, they love running it first, second, and third.
The Browns over the last couple of years, they've won a lot of games off of running the ball. They've got 2 really, really, really good running backs, and that's how I think the Ravens have done. I don't think that's as big of a stat and as crazy of a stat as people are going to make it out to be. Lamar wins games, and at the end of the day, I mean, he wins games, and however you got to do it, doesn't matter. Like if your stats are horrible, as long as you win games, that's all people care about. That's the truth. So I wouldn't look into that statistic too crazy. Obviously, I'm a huge Jalen Hurts guy, and it looks good that he's proving a lot of people wrong. Everyone is coming in saying that he looks for, the run first rather than the pass. And there's a big play I wanted to talk about. If you look into the game, it was a second down, I'd say, second and like 7.
The Falcons-Eagles game? Or are you talking the Monday night game?
No, the Falcons. I'm talking Jalen Hurts. And he ran out to the right, And I remember watching the game and thinking, run, he could get the first down. Deion Jones was a little far back. He was like at the marker. You could make instead of a, second and possibly nothing, you could make a or a 3rd and 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had the opportunity to make that play, and he stayed in the, behind the line of scrimmage and fired on the run.
Got him. Got him.
He fired on the run and hit Devontae Smith for like a 20-yard gain, and that was like really big for me. I mean, I know it's a small play, I know it's not huge, but that was big for me. That's a big step in him proving people wrong. And I think what's different for Lamar Jackson is I think Lamar Jackson runs that football. I do. I think he tries to get the first down on his legs, rather Jalen Hurts try to get it with his arm, and that's big. I know that's a crazy thing to say, a little play, a little nothing play, and throughout the season, but to me that was big. That was Hurts having his confidence, having being like, I can make this, I can do it, I can throw the ball, I can, I don't have to run, I can prove people wrong, and that was big for me.
Very, very good point. I like how you bring that up. With Lamar Jackson, obviously awesome player, MVP of the league, but in his mind, it's run first, throw second, always. Just in my opinion, from watching him play.
I agree with you.
And that was my concern with Jalen Hurts last year. Now, granted, the offensive line was shaken up with all the injuries. The Eagles were a terrible team. They only had about 3 wins when he came in at the time, or 2 wins when he came in at the time. And that's what I was nervous about, because when Jalen Hurts became the starter for those last 4 or 5 games, it looked like he was very similar to Lamar, where he was thinking run first, then throw. But in this first game against the Falcons, it looked like what you said, like when he rolled out, he was looking to throw first or make a bigger play than what he would with his legs. And that was an encouraging sign. Like you said, I don't think too much about the statistic. I know, I feel like with every player in every sport, statistics are there. And I'm not going to look too much into it because Lamar Jackson's not a throwing quarterback.
I always say
great quarterback, but he's not a throwing quarterback.
Yeah, I always say people pull up crazy statistics. Like the one I always bring up is it's like Michael Jordan. It's like all these amazing players, Tim Duncan, whatever, and then it's like Thaddeus Young.
Yeah.
the only players to ever in NBA history average like 15.6 rebounds and like 4 assists in like a 10-year career. And it's just like that. It's just ESPN. They pull crazy.
Like I think Michael Carter Williams was like the youngest, or Markelle Fultz is the youngest player to get a triple double.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't think of that. You think it's like a Luka Doncic or someone.
Yeah. No, yeah, you would think it's the crazy nights happen. I mean, yeah. Corey Brewer had a 50-point game one time. It's just the way it's like.
I remember that. And just my last point touching on this topic. The Ravens are more times than not. I know this past Monday night was different, but more times than not, the Ravens are leading. They're winning in games. So they're going to run the ball more. They're going to chew clock, get that clock. They're winning. Just like when teams go up, they start running it. The Eagles, outside of the Falcons game last year, it seemed like the Eagles were always down. They always had to get back into it. So Jalen Hurts was, throwing constantly. So that's just, it's a good statistic. I want to see Jalen Hurts air it out this Sunday. I do want to.
Yeah, I do too. I think this is a really, really big game. Not the fact that I think the 49ers are a little bit overrated. I think people have them really hyped up. I hear people saying that they're Super Bowl contenders before the season. I don't think that's necessarily true. We haven't seen Trey Lance yet. Obviously, I don't have to talk about that. I'm very high on Trey Lance.
You think we'll see him this Sunday?
I don't think we'll see him this Sunday. I think it's going to take about a month, maybe 2 months. I don't know how long. I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo plays the way he did, against the Lions, granted it was the Lions, they were horrible on defense. They scored a lot of points, but I think the big thing is coaching. I mean, we played a first-time head coach who openly said, Arthur Smith, I don't know if you saw after the Eagles game, he openly said that this loss was on him and that he was not prepared whatsoever for the first week. Also, to me, I said all year, or I said all before this week and, last week and whatever, that Atlanta wasn't that good of a team. I thought they were a bottom 5 team in the NFL. Now people are seeing that. But I think the big thing is you're playing a phenomenal coach. Kyle Shanahan's no joke. Been to 2 Super Bowls. One as a head coach, one as an assistant. He's known as making that, he could take an offense. I mean, he took Taylor Gabriel and made him into like an 1,000-yard wide receiver in a season. I mean, it's just the way it's what he does. So I think this is going to be really big. Obviously, they've got some injuries. Raheem Mostert's out. Their offensive line looks really solid. I know they've got a really solid defense. They probably have the best linebacker in the league in Bobby Wagner. It's definitely not going to be easy for the Eagles. I love the fact that it's a home game. But I think if, the Eagles play the way they do and they have a game plan and they have that little confidence. Something's going on with this team. I don't know if you feel it, but I feel it's a lot different than it has been over the last couple of years. So I'm confident. I think they could pull out a win. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles, handle business.
Very glad you brought up that point. It's in no way, shape, or form am I comparing them to the 2017 Eagles. So before anyone ever thinks that, I'm not doing that at all. But when you remember those games, they were fun. They were exciting, fast-paced. They were dancing after sacks, celebrating after touchdowns. You saw that again in this first game. Now, mind you, it's only one game, but it looks like the energy and the flair are back with this team.
It just looked like it's like when
see,
you
the players at the end of the games grabbing beers from the fans with Jason Kelce and Jordan Mailata.
It's like you feel like it's like they hit a home run and or you hit a 3-pointer or whatever, and somebody's like, don't celebrate like crazy, act like you've been there. You score a goal, act like you've been there. That's what it felt like with the Eagles. Like it felt like they came out and they scored 4 touchdowns and they looked great and they didn't give up a touchdown and they were happy and they were celebrating. But like when they got to the sidelines, it was like business. It was like, we've been here. This isn't new. We're not surprised at what we did. So I think, it's a bigger test this week. And I love how the schedule works, especially the first 4 games. Is like, yes, we start out with an easy opponent with Atlanta. It's still an away game. Handle business there. Now we got our first home game back in the link, 70,000 people. Jalen Hurts said he's really excited. His first game starting. I don't think I'm going. I would love to, but I'm not. I'm going to that Penn State whiteout game.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Who are they playing?
They're playing Auburn.
No way.
Yeah, it should be a good game. We'll see if they can keep it up. We'll see if Penn State can keep it up.
We'll see.
I love, how the schedule works out in the first. Then you get a home game against the 49ers team who's good, better than Atlanta. I don't think as good as everybody says they are, but it's going to be a test. And then you got week 3 away against the Cowboys, who looked really solid week 1. That's going to be a fun game. I just found out today, actually right before the podcast, about 30 minutes ago, that Lawrence is going to be out for about 2 months. He broke his foot. DeMarcus
in
Lawrence.
The Buccaneers game or at practice?
In the Buccaneers game, I heard he something with his foot. They didn't think it was serious.
I'm never very good player, but I never get worried about him because Lane Johnson has dominated him his entire career.
But it's more of a significant injury for when it comes to me. I think the division right now, especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick being out and Taylor Heineke playing, I don't know how he's going to play. I think the Giants are out. I think the Giants are done. I had way higher hopes for them. That team is really bad.
The Joe Judge experiment is not working.
Like I said before, Joe Judge is not the right coach for that team. They continue to miss on head coaching hires there, and they continue to miss on drafts bust time and time again. I saw a quick clip. I want to get into it. It was Von Miller versus Andrew Thomas. It was their first round pick 2 years ago, who had a really bad year, his first year, hoping they have a better second year. They snapped the ball, and Von Miller sacked Daniel Jones within 2 seconds. Like the Thomas didn't even react to the snap. It was crazy. It was like so bad. It was like Pee Wee football bad. Like you have to see the clip. If you guys haven't seen the clip, look it up. That's going to be the Giants. That's going to be the Giants season all year. It's really bad. That offensive line, they just don't want to get it fixed. It's crazy. But I think to me, it's the division right now is Cowboys Eagles, and the Cowboys losing their top defensive player on our already really bad defense is going to be big because Dallas doesn't have an easy schedule, and neither do we. So, our defense looks a lot more solid than theirs does as of now, and that's a big injury. Obviously, you don't root for injuries. I really don't. I don't like DeMarcus Lawrence. I actually really hate him, but I don't root for him to get injured. But yeah, that's really big for them to lose, especially he's their captain on defense, I'm pretty sure. That's a big loss in the beginning of the season. So we'll see. But that week 3 game is really big. An away game against Dallas. It's always hard to go into that stadium. I heard it's crazy there. And then you got week 4 home against the Chiefs. Another big test. We'll see how ready they are by then. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to beat the Chiefs, but it'd be nice to, as of now, I'm expecting a 14 to 10 point loss. I mean, if you can hang in there and make it a game, only lose by, a touchdown, maybe a field goal somehow, or somehow even win the game up. Football's crazy. That would give me a lot of hope for this season. So we're really going to learn how this team is over the next 3 weeks. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's exciting. And that's where we can get into our next segment where we're going to discuss what team we think is going to win each division. After week 1, you get a sense, but obviously it's a long football season. You can never tell after week 1.
But week 1 is the biggest over-exaggerated week in the history of any sport ever.
Yeah, like after week 1, Jalen Hurts is an MVP talk, honestly. You know what
I'm saying? 500% increase in jersey sales.
That was crazy. That was the biggest increase amongst any player in the whole league.
And like ever. Like that's like the biggest increase like a player's ever had ever.
And among non-rookie players or non-rookie quarterbacks, Devontae Smith's jersey was the highest seller. So take out rookie quarterbacks and take out Mac Jones.
Listen, like I said to you when the season started, this was the most excited I've been for a team, like an Eagles team in a long time, because it was a new quarterback and in a new system. I was like, obviously, I'm excited every year. I love watching the Eagles, even when their quarterback could literally be their punter. I don't care. I'm going to be super excited to watch him no matter what. But this season, like I told you, it was different. You laughed at me too when you said it. You were like, "What do you mean you're super excited?" It was just different. I was really excited to watch this team, and listen, it's off to a great start. It's off to the best start it could have possibly came out.
That's a good pop-up question. Pop-up trivia question just came in my mind. Devontae Smith recorded 7 catches for 71 yards last Sunday against the Falcons. Who was the last Eagles wide receiver to record 6 catches in their rookie debut?
You just know that.
Go with your gut.
Do you want me to guess it?
Yeah, go. Yeah, we can do it. Whatever.
I'm going to say Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson. Yep.
Yeah. I was thinking him or Jeremy Maclin, but I think Deshaun.
Deshaun Jackson got it. Phenomenal receiver when he was in his prime with us. But yeah, let's get into these. Let's get into these divisions. Let's see who you got. We'll start out with We'll go AFC. We'll go NFC West because we were just talking about the 49ers. They're coming to town. So in the NFC West, you got the Niners, you got the Rams, you got the Cardinals, and you got the Seahawks. That division, in my opinion, best in the league.
I agree with you 100%. I actually saw in my, bringing
all those teams are more than capable of winning 12 games.
I saw people ask me what a great bet I had, or a great bet that I liked, like value-wise. Which didn't mean I think it was going to happen, but value-wise, like the money, the Cardinals were plus either 500 or 600 to win the division. I'm like, that's great value. They're a great team. They've got a great quarterback, a great offense. They could win their division. It's not crazy. Do I think they're going to win that division? No.
I think I know who you're going to say. I think I know who you're going to say.
I don't even think I have to say it. My guy, yep. Always, every year I've been saying it. It's like his rookie season all over again. Matthew Stafford and the Rams are going to win that division. We know how it is. At first, Seahawks, they're going to come out, win their first 6-7 games. Everyone's going to be like, Russ is finally cooking, and then they're going to come apart like they always do. I'm not very high on the 49ers, especially after their first week. Letting Detroit come back into that game and almost losing it is ridiculous. I love the Cardinals, but same thing. I don't think that team is there yet. I don't think they've taken that leap, similar to like how the Dolphins, everyone's really excited about the season. I just don't think that team is there yet. I think they need another year of like working things out. The Cardinals are a little bit closer to me. I mean, I think Chandler Jones looks great. J.J. Watt played really well. That wasn't expecting. They don't have really a great running back there. Their wide receivers are solid. Christian Kirk looks really, really good. Obviously, I don't need to talk about Hopkins. Hopkins is Hopkins. He's the best wide receiver in the league. He's going to do it he's always doing it. So it's, we're used to it. Kyler Murray's great. I always said that, really high on him. But to me, Stafford, I'm taking the Rams just because you look at that defense is so solid. They've got the best player at cornerback. They got the best player on the whole in all of the league in defensive line. You got to think about that. And then also, I think they've got a great offense. They've got a great couple running backs. I think give Sony Michel a couple of weeks. He'll come into play when he starts learning that offense. Darrell Henderson looked really good. Their offensive line looks really solid. Obviously, Woods.
Kupp had a big game for him the other day.
Tyler Higbee played really well. Van Jefferson looks like he's going to be a solid third guy to go to. And Matt Stafford looks great. Like I said, I mean, I know it was the Bears, similar to how the Eagles played Atlanta, and everyone's like, it's the Bears. But it was big, like 300-plus yards, 3 touchdowns. He didn't make any mistakes. And I think finally people are going to start noticing because Matt Stafford's gone under the radar for the last couple of years because he's playing for Detroit. But now he's finally with the team, especially with a great coach in Sean McVay. But don't be surprised, man. I'm telling you, that team, don't be surprised if they win the Super Bowl.
Now, it is possible, correct me if I'm wrong, because we got the 2 wild cards now, right? So it's possible that 3 teams from a division could be in the playoffs.
And if it's going to be any division, it's going to be that one.
It's going to be this one. And that's my prediction right off the bat. Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals will all be in the playoffs.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
I think between the collection of coaches, players, and just like
talent.
Yeah. Skill. They have it all, and they will. These three teams can really give Tampa Bay, Green Bay, and even teams in the AFC a run for their money. I like your pick with the Rams. Matt Stafford had a great first game with them. Their offense obviously has the weapons. It's a shame that Cam Akers went down because I thought he was going to have a great year with them this year.
I think that's a big shame too because I think he was going to have a monster season.
Yeah, their defense obviously speaks for itself with Donald and Jalen Ramsey. Literally, probably two of the top 5 players on defense in the entire league.
Well, I think, my opinion, the two best players at their position.
Not even I'm saying all in all, like player for player. But I don't know, with the way that the Cardinals were in playoff contention last year, I like this team. They remind me a lot like a young, not comparing them, but a 2017 Eagles-like team.
That was the type team I kind of got the vibes from too.
You know what I mean? No one really giving them much consideration, much recognition.
I think the only player
all around the board, they got a number. Hopkins is obviously better than Jeffrey, but their number 1 receiver, we had a number 1 guy at the time. Kyler Murray is in my opinion, a stud. And
he's a stud. He's an MVP. He's going to be an MVP type quarterback for the next 10 years.
I was just about to say, don't be surprised if he's in the MVP conversation by the end of the year. I think he had 4 total touchdowns this past week. Five. Yeah. And I know he's out of his prime, but signing JJ Watt, it did open up a little wiggle room for Chandler Jones. Jones recorded 5 sacks.
3 sacks in the first quarter.
Absurd. I mean, he's on pace to break the record now.
Someone said Michael Strahan, watch out. I mean, he's not kidding. I mean, 5 sacks to start a season is the best way you could start a season.
So Strahan had what, 22.5?
He had 22.5 or something like that.
And then Justin Houston did it with the Chiefs. He didn't break it. He came close. He got like 20
something. And now people are forgetting one more game now.
And now there's one more game. So that's a good question. If Chandler Jones gets the sack record, would you give it to him?
That's the big issue. That's why people weren't talking about. That was my big issue with putting a new game in because now, I mean, don't be surprised if the yards record gets broken, touchdown record get broken, all in just this year. With the guys like Mahomes.
The year that the Patriots went to the Super Bowl against the Giants the first time when they had Randy Moss, Moss broke the single season touchdown receptions. He had 23 that year. Jerry Rice originally had the record, and Rice did it in 16 games or 15 games, whatever it was. Who's your all-time, who's got that record in your mind? Would Moss or Rice?
I got to go.
So that's the question. Like if Chandler Jones does it this year with more games to do it, is that actually the record?
To me, no. It's it's like the same argument with like this: is Roger Maris still the single season home run record? People still argue that.
Yeah.
Steroids. It's that's what makes sports awesome is those arguments. But yeah, to me, that's going to be big. So there's going to be a lot of records broken this year. A ton of records broken.
Definitely. I mean, I know the first game of the year, Mahomes beat one of Dan Marino's records for most touchdowns within the first 50 career games, or not 50.
And also, I mean, don't be surprised. Patrick Mahomes throws for 400 yards a game. So another game to him is huge.
Oh, yeah. So for the NFC West, you have the Rams. I'm taking the Cardinals just because I just like the energy.
I like the pick. I like the pick.
Yeah, I'm just going with I think 3.
If it wasn't the Rams, I'd go Cardinals.
Okay. Yeah, I think 3 teams are coming out of that division and playing the playoff.
Sure, yeah.
All right, we'll go into the next division. We'll just switch it over. AFC North. I actually got to look because I don't know who's in. Oh, Steelers. Another good division. Steelers, Browns, Ravens, and the Bengals. Dude, that's a team in the AFC that can bring 3 guys out, 3 teams out.
That's another team, and I said this, and I actually told my friend Marco, who's a huge Steelers fan. He was really low on him. Not low, but he definitely wasn't high on him this season. And I said, I think the Steelers can win the division. And obviously people were like, oh, Bryce, you're just saying that because you just saw them win in Buffalo. But I talked about it. I keep saying it. The Steelers always win. They don't lose. They never end the season with a losing record. They have a solid team. It all depends on how Ben Roethlisberger plays. Obviously, he didn't play very well the first game. He played well enough for them to get the win. Their defense is really, really, really good. They've got 3 really good wide receivers, in my opinion. Obviously not studs, but like all really, really solid. I think there's just a ton of talent there. Najee Harris, obviously their offensive line is pretty bad, but that's going to hurt. But to me, the Ravens obviously were the favorite coming in, or not obviously the favorite, but close to it.
Up there.
But I think so many injuries. I think the Ravens are going to take a step back this year just because it's going to be so hard for them to come back from so many of those injuries. I think the Bengals, obviously, I'm just not high on them. I think they're going to slow down. I hate to say it, but don't be surprised if Burrow gets hurt. That offensive line's still really bad. They played a bad Minnesota Vikings team. I just wouldn't be surprised there. And obviously the Cleveland Browns, I mean, they're phenomenal. They're really, really good. I got to give them the edge over the Steelers just by a little bit. I think it will be tight, though. The Steelers also crushed the Browns. The Steelers always beat the Browns, obviously besides the playoff game we just saw last year. But the Steelers always beat the Browns. I mean, Big Ben is like the most winning quarterback in Browns history. It's like crazy. Or the most winning quarterback in Brown Stadium is Ben Roethlisberger.
You brought up very good points that Steelers defense is loaded. And I actually, on the one episode that we brought Dan and Rich on, I didn't think the Steelers were going to beat the Bills at all, just with the way the Bills played last season and then coming into this year and being a home opener. I just thought the Bills were just going to steamroll them. They didn't. But I have to agree with you on this one. I think the Browns are coming out on top in this division. The way they played against the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
It's the best loss game, like with the most hope ever you could ever have. Like if I was a Cleveland Browns fan and we lost that game, yes, I'd be upset we lost, but I'd be so excited for the season. You're going to beat 95% of the league playing a game like that.
Baker Mayfield played literally a near perfect game up until that final play with the
They got screwed. They got screwed. Their punter had a botched snap.
Was just about to say, if it wasn't for that mishap with the punter.
Wait, how about the fact that he dropped it? He still could have pumped the ball. That was the best part.
He could have picked it up in time. I think in that case, when he caught it, dropped it, he probably got nervous that someone was coming and then was going to block it. And
they're terrified. Punters don't want to get hit. They're like us. They don't want to get hit.
But at that point, just try to do a quick kick and get it out of bounds or something, get some yards.
Try to kick it 25 yards and just kick it out. That's better than trying to run up and just falling at the 10-yard line.
When you look at the Ravens, and it's funny because I was checking, fantasy the other day. I had Gus Edwards, and I'm like, oh, like when he went down, I'm like, who do I pick up? So I picked up Tyson Williams. But then when they invited Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell, and Devontae Freeman all to the practice squad, could you imagine like 5 or 6 years ago, if they had all three of these running backs on the team? Like, dude.
They should bring it back early. They should just bring it back early.
Like that would be incredible. That would be incredible. I was thinking of that. Imagine all three of those players in their prime on the Ravens.
Oh yeah, that'd
absurd.
That'd be a $200 million payroll right there.
When we had DeMarco Murray, Ryan Matthews, and Darren Sproles with that Chip Kelly era, we thought we were winning it all with those running backs.
Underrated Eagles of all time. Ryan Matthews.
Hurt too much. Scored a lot of touchdowns. Hurt too much.
He had good games. I always remember that Carolina Panthers game where he like busted off like a 70-yard run and Luke Kuechly almost got him. I just,
I'm still pissed off when Chip Kelly came in. He made that trade for Darren Sproles. And at the time, our team, we had Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, Jeremy Maclin, and Darren Sproles all on the same offense. And then obviously we know what happened with that offseason. He got rid of Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy.
Worst trade ever.
We never got to see how,
I remember we talked about that trade and you said you liked the move. You liked Kiko. You'll deny it right now, but I remember you were a Kiko guy.
Here's the reason why I liked it. Because they followed it up with the Frank Gore signing. And then they bolstered.
How was Frank Gore not like an Eagle? Like he
Frank Gore was the greatest Philly athlete to never put on a Philly uniform.
No, like it's like a known fact all around the league too. Like he was a Philadelphia Eagle, and like he was like I don't even know, like did he not sign the contract? It was like crazy.
Dude, I don't know what happened, but when the reason I like the trade is because Kiko was a Pro Bowler the year before. That's what people forget. He was a Pro Bowl linebacker, the best in the league the year before. We bring him over to Philly. We needed linebackers. So we got him. We dished out McCoy. Running backs have a short lifespan in the NFL. It's known. 5 or 6 good years.
Yeah.
Shady obviously is the best running back. Yeah, Shady was the best running back the Eagles have ever seen, probably will ever see. But he was getting to that mark. I know he had 2 good years with the Bills, but he was, bringing in Frank Gore. Frank Gore had the same numbers as McCoy did the year before. So it's like there was no drop off. But then it's like Frank Gore signed with us, and then like 3 hours later he said, "Nah, I don't want to be a part of this," and he went to the Colts.
It was crazy.
And that was it.
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was actually crazy.
He's a good name that people are bringing up that he might sign again with, say, the Ravens.
Frank, just hang him up. Just hang him up, Frank, please.
I think he's second all time in rushing yards.
I know, but it's like embarrassing. Like, just stop playing. You're gonna
not
like,
embarrassing, dude. Keep going, Frank the Tank.
His kid's a sophomore in like college right now.
You want to talk about me picking Rob Gronkowski every year? Oh, by the way, for those of you that are staying up to date with our fantasy league, Bryce picked him in our draft, dropped him. I got Gronkowski on the waiver wire. For those of you who don't know about the history of the league, every year that I have Gronkowski, I'm going to the championship, so you can solidify my position in the first annual.
I more picked Gronk to like just like
mess with it. Yeah.
I was planning on keeping him. I like Gronk, and obviously everyone's going to hype him up over the first game of the season. He's going to slow down. He's going to slow down.
I don't know. Tom Brady today said that don't be surprised if you see the old Gronkowski. So I'm hoping. It's interesting to bring up because in that game, Gronkowski had like 35 plays.
No, yeah, he had
offensive plays where he was running routes or doing something.
You remember with the injury bug, you can't push Gronk too hard because he's an injury-prone guy. There's no.
I think that will change throughout the year when you got Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Godwin. It will all spread out evenly. I don't think Gronk's going to get 2 touchdowns, 100 yards.
Antonio Brown's a top 10 wide receiver in the league as of now. I'll stick to that. He's still got it.
Going back to that podcast with Terrell Owens and Shannon Sharp, Terrell Owens said that Antonio Brown, still in his mind, Antonio Brown and Julio Jones are still the 2 best wide receivers.
No, Julio is. Oh my God, what is it with these people?
I could be wrong. I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth or anything like that, but he did. Maybe it was his favorite wide receivers. Maybe it was his favorite, but he did mention Julio Jones and Antonio Brown. He really liked.
I don't understand this Julio Jones hype anymore. He's not playing the way people make him out to like play.
It's one game with the Titans, so I'm not looking too much into it. But he's never been a big touchdown guy. He's always just been high yardage.
I mean, that's what's big for me though, is a guy, we say he's a top wide receiver, a top 5 wide receiver in the league. I mean, I just don't see it anymore. There's so much talent in this league. It's crazy. Hopkins, Adams, Diggs, there's so many good wide receivers. Hill. I mean, I just don't see him as a top 5 guy anymore.
Yeah. So just to, recap, you have the Browns winning. I have the Browns winning as well. I just think the Ravens are too injury depleted with all those guys going down. Unfortunately, Marcus Peters, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, those guys are out for the year. Big Ben doesn't have it in him anymore. He's done. And I think that's going to hurt the Steelers come late in the season. But another great division. And it really, with this extra game, it makes it all the more important that teams like them in their division win their divisional games.
Yeah.
Moving on to the AFC East. Another good division. AFC's got some good teams this year.
Oh, yeah.
Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets. We don't even have to bring up the one team. They're off the board. They got no shot. So we got 3 teams in this division.
You're going to do that? Is that crazy?
I'm going to do that to the Jets. I'm going to do that to the Bills. Yeah, cross the Bills out. I'm all in on Nick Wilson. No, so Bills, Dolphins.
It's not even Nick Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson. Who's Nick? Nick, I don't know.
I don't even know.
I'm tired. It's been a long day. Zach Wilson. Miami, Patriots, Bills. Who you got?
I'm not high on the Bills.
I got a feeling you're going with someone.
No, I'm not. I'm sticking with the Bills. They're still a much better team. I think the Patriots might keep it closer than people think. I just tell you, I don't know what it is with the Bills. I'm just not too high on them. I still think they're going to win the division. I'm still confident in McDermott. I think he's a great coach. They're gonna win the division. Like I said, I still think Miami's a step behind. I just don't think they're there. I don't even think they played that well on Sunday. I think they just got lucky with a fumble.
This is an interesting game this weekend. It's Miami versus the Bills. Who you got in that game? Who do you think's winning?
I got the Bills. It's just because I'm so low on Tua, and I don't even think Tua played. People are saying he played great. If that's Tua playing great, that's not good. I mean, I'm just being honest. He didn't play like a winning quarterback. I think Mac Jones played really well. I think he's going to have a really, really solid season. He's going to have a Belichick type season. He's going to throw the ball 25 times a game. He's going to, he's going to throw the ball
10-yard passes, 10-yard passes.
He's going to hit his, he's going to hit his running backs, and they're going to, everything will be fine. They'll win games. They'll win 10 games, 11 games. Don't be surprised. But the Patriots will keep that division close. I don't think I need to get into it too much. Going to take the Bills here. I'm not going to overthink it.
Good pick. The smart pick. Listen, Stephon Diggs, stud wide receiver. I love him. He's on my fantasy team. I think the Bills, with that offense, they're going to get going. It happens. It's football. So any team could win. The Steelers game, I'm not looking too much in. I think the Bills are, much better all around than the other teams in the division.
They're still a really good team. I just, I don't think they're like a Super Bowl type team. It's just my opinion.
I think they'll get 12 wins this year. I think they'll go 12-5. Let me ask you a quick question, though. Going back to the other division, you were talking about the Steelers. Obviously, great defense. They're going to be a good team. Say at the end of the season, it comes down for a wild card spot. Steelers, Patriots. Who are you taking? Because I could see that. I could see that happening.
I got to go with the Patriots.
Why?
Quarterback play. I think Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger right now.
Wow. See, in my opinion, I'm going with the Steelers because you have a rookie quarterback, someone who's never been there before, against that defense. T.J. Watt, all those guys, Minka Fitzpatrick. And I think Big Ben, that's where experience will come in.
I know. I just think Belichick. It's just the Belichick thing with me. He scares me. He
keeps you up at night.
Yeah, I mean, he just scares.
Who was the one quarterback said that you've seen? Was it Sam Darnold? He was seeing ghosts out there in his rookie debut against Bill.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'm scared of Bill. I don't care if just the most random quarterback, a practice squad quarterback is their quarterback. I'm scared.
All right, let's switch it over. We're going to the NFC South, obviously. Tampa Bay. You got the Buccaneers.
Let's not get crazy. It's Tampa Bay.
No, I'm kidding. It's Tampa Bay. But you also have
please, not the Winston stuff. Please, everybody, please relax. If everyone's listening, Jameis Winston is not good. Stop, everybody. He's not winning MVP. They're not going to the playoffs. Everyone relax. The Saints aren't going to have that good of a season.
I tried telling you, he got LASIK surgery, and now he can see again.
No,
Watch out. He is back.
Everyone comes at me with Winston. Everybody, all my friends from school too. They're like, Winston, you think Winston sucks and he played well? Yes, he played well. I can admit that 5 touchdowns. He played really well. Green Bay played terrible. That's not going to happen all the time. Relax on the Saints. The Panthers, they're not there yet. I think they're a little bit of an exciting team, but still not really bought in on them yet. I just think Tampa's far better. And please, do we have to talk about Atlanta?
Atlanta's very similar to the Jets. They're out. In my opinion, they're not even in the division. You got Carolina, which good young pieces. You have McCaffrey. You bring in Sam Darnold. You have DJ Moore. And on the defense, they have some guys, but they're not going anywhere.
They're not ready to win a division.
Listen, I'm not saying the Saints are going to win the division by no means. I think the Buccaneers are going to come away. I even think the Buccaneers can go undefeated. They're favored in every game this year. That's a good Bryce's best bet. Look into that. They're favored every game.
I don't think they're going to go undefeated.
Never count out Brady.
I'm not saying he's going to lose. It's going to happen.
The Saints, though, you can't overlook them because
Sean Payton has proven me wrong time in and time out, and he proved me wrong.
Sean Payton's a great quarterback, like I was saying with you. I mean, when Teddy Bridgewater was running this exact team, they went 5-0 that one year when Drew Brees went down.
Sean Payton proves me wrong time in and time out.
They got the weapon in Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara. Obviously, his name speaks for itself, and their defense a little bit on the older side, but they're still good. Lattimore, Jenkins. Jordan, they got some guys that are good. They were a good defense last year, so never count them out, especially for a wild card spot.
Just stop though, please, with the Winston talk, please.
I'm joking with you. I've never been a fan of Winston.
Everybody my balls. I cannot wait till he has a really, really bad Jameis Winston game. Oh my God, we're jumping on the pod like within the first 15 minutes after that game. I can't wait. But yeah, I think no one will disagree.
That's what I almost forgot. This is why you can't count out the Saints. around week 4 or 5, they have Michael Thomas coming back. So
No, he might not come back till like week like 10.
For those of you listening, Bryce is saying that only because I have him on my team.
No, I'm saying that because also they're trying to work out a contract things. His whole situation's really messed up. That's all I know. I'm not saying that because she's on.
Who's the other wide receiver they have though? Johnson, Joe Johnson.
No, Jawan Johnson. He played for He actually used to play for Penn State. He played for Oregon. Yeah, he's a tight end actually.
Is he really?
He's considered
number 19, right?
No, 83.
Then someone else on the team's Johnson with 19.
Oh, well, Johnson, I assumed you're talking about him. He had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, well, it's Jawan Johnson. He used to play for Penn State.
No, somebody else. All right, we're confused. We're moving on. I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna get AFC West. Do we have to talk about this one? Chiefs all the way.
Yeah, I mean,
you have the Raiders, you have the Chargers, you have
another really solid division. Another really
Broncos.
Really,
so you got the Chiefs, the
I
Raiders,
think those are
Chargers, and Broncos.
4 solid teams. Those are 4. To me, those could be 4 above 500 type teams. But the Chiefs might lose one game this season.
I love the way that the Raiders played the other night against the Ravens. Yes, the Ravens were hurt, but I think the Raiders could surprise some people this year. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs. They could have a good year.
I think he's a great leader, Derek Carr. He's proven me wrong over those last 2 years. I'm not high on John Gruden. I don't think he's a phenomenal coach. I think he makes a lot of questionable calls. But they've got a little weird team. They've got 2 solid running backs. They've got their wide receiver core is definitely a little bit below average. They have a phenomenal tight end. Darren Waller has completely proven it to me. He's a stud. Their defense is they're a really exciting team. I'm going to watch a lot of Raiders games this year. They're exciting.
Josh Jacobs obviously in the backfield. Kenyon Drake.
I just think it's a shame that Henry Ruggs doesn't look like anything too special. He had some solid plays Monday night, but he doesn't look like anything too special. But Edwards played really well.
Do you think the Chiefs can go undefeated this year?
Yes.
You think the Chiefs have a better chance of going undefeated than the Buccaneers?
I'd have to look at both schedules again, but it's tough. I think they both, wouldn't be crazy. I don't think either of them are going to go undefeated.
I wouldn't be surprised, like last year, if the Raiders beat the Chiefs a game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. I was just going to say that. I would not be surprised at all.
This division especially, the games are always so close.
I wouldn't be surprised if I know this sounds crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos won at like a home game with the Broncos. I wouldn't be surprised if they won a cold day. I wouldn't be surprised. That defense is really good. The Broncos are one of the most underrated teams in the league. They've got great wide receivers. Obviously, Judy out is really going to hurt them.
Yeah, they still got Cortland Sutton though.
They still got Sutton.
Melvin Gordon had a very good game.
Yeah, he looks like he's the number 1 running back there. There was a lot of questions there. Their offensive line looks solid, and their defensive line looks great. Von Miller is
still there.
He's still there. I mean, he proved it again. I mean, he is still one of the best defensive players in the league. But yeah, I don't think we need to overthink this. Chiefs
all the way. Moving on to the next division, the NFC North. This is another division that I think it's kind of speaks for itself. You got Green Bay, Minnesota, the Lions, and then you got the Bears. With the Bears, their defense, yes, it's good, but with them not really knowing what's going on at the quarterback position.
The Bears are a mess. We're just waiting for Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace to be fired. That's pretty much what's happening.
Yeah, Bears I think are out of it.
Justin Fields is going to start near the end of the season. I think it could be similar to a Jalen Hurts type thing. He might start a couple games of the season, might win a couple games at the end. They'll fire the coaches. There'll be that organization will be completely different next year. They're a joke to me right now. I mean, the Bears, they looked as bad as I would have thought they would Monday night. The Vikings, I think they're really bad. Kirk Cousins is the definition of just medium, like just a mediocre, maybe a little bit above mediocre quarterback, not above average, like above mediocre. He's going to win games, but he's never going to win like any big games. It's the way he is. Green Bay, yes, they looked real. I mean, they look the worst I've ever seen Aaron Rodgers look. They're still going to win this division just because it's just so bad. And the Lions, do we have to talk about the Lions? They're with the Jets and the Falcons. They're the Lions. They're going to be terrible.
Hey, Jared Goff, DeAndre Swift.
Stop.
I'm not saying they're going to win the division.
No, I just don't want you to say anything more.
I don't think they're going to be a Jets. Though.
Remember, we're on a podcast now. I don't want you to say anything embarrassing that I can pull back up.
Whoa, I'm not going to say anything embarrassing. Don't be surprised if the Detroit Lions give the Eagles a run for their money when they come to town. I'm not kidding. I think the Lions.
Okay. I thought you were going somewhere else. I thought you were going like bold prediction 7 wins or something. I thought that's where you were going.
I'm not saying the Lions are going to have the Lions are not as bad as a team as the Jets, the Jaguars, the Texans. They're not on that level.
I think they're definitely on that level.
I think they're with like Carolina. I think they're with Minnesota. Obviously, I think they're on that level.
Jim, Detroit Lions guy.
I like Jared Goff. I don't know why people have a problem with Jared Goff.
I hate Jared Goff. So we're.
I hate you. I hate you. So it just
whoa.
It just goes. It's just similarities. But anyway, we're gonna. I'm kidding. I love it. Listen, we probably only got about 3 minutes left on this episode, so we'll switch it over. We'll go to a part 2. A lot of good conversation. For those listening, right now we're doing the divisions. We're going to move on in the next episode, and we're going to do underrated, overrated players, and then we'll touch on the Phillies before we go. But
we'll go through divisions quick. I don't think we need to go crazy. We don't.
Yeah, we only got 2 left. NFC North, we both have Green Bay coming out of. That's set. AFC South, Colts, Titans, the Texans, and who am I missing? Oh, Jaguars, Jacksonville.
I'm taking. I also don't think this is crazy. Obviously, they had a terrible game Sunday. I'm sticking with the Titans. I think they're a better team. I can't trust I think the Colts can be solid. I just can't trust them. Not because, Bryce, you hate Carson Wentz, which is true. But you never know. Is Wentz going to stay healthy the whole entire year? That's a question mark you need to throw up. They didn't look great on Sunday as a team. I'm not saying just Wentz, but the whole team didn't look very well. Good Sunday, especially the fact that everyone talked about how great that defense was. They didn't look good. Their offensive line looks bad. The Jaguars look, to me, another team, bottom 5. And same with the Texans. They're both going to have really bad seasons. We don't really need to get into it. I don't know about you. I know you're very high on the Colts.
I'm very high on the Colts, but I'm also very high on the Titans. I like what they got with the run game. I like the addition of Julio Jones along with A.J. Brown on the opposite side. I think Tannehill, we can talk about this next episode. Tannehill's the most underrated player in the league.
I know. I'm with that.
And I do, I know I just like Vrabel as a coach. I think he's good. They've been unfortunate the past couple of years, the Titans. I see the Colts winning this division. I think
it's like a disease, sick disease. He's got the Wentz disease. He just can't, no matter what. It's terrible. He could play on the Texans right now. Jim thinks they're going to the Super Bowl. It's something with him. I don't know what it is. He will always let you down.
I got his jersey. It's framed in my room, and that's it. It's over with. It's signed, sealed, and delivered. Wentz will lead this team to a Super Bowl at some point in his tenure in Indianapolis. I'm saying it right here.
God,
listen, save this because when I'm right.
Did he do something for you? Did he give you like $1 million? I don't understand what it is.
He's awesome. I'm going to talk to him after I get off the show. We're going to have a conversation. I got him on speed dial. We talk all the time.
I wish Carson Wentz knew you. You deserve to meet him. I mean,
listen, if Mike Trout likes a guy, I like a guy. All right. Mike Trout and Carson Wentz are buddies from Philadelphia. They love each other. They go hunting together. I love Wentz.
I don't know what it is with you.
I see the Colts.
The Colts could be in the same division as the Chiefs and the Bucks, and Jim would think the Colts are going to win. It's crazy.
You heard it here first on the Brothers of Broad Street podcast. The Colts are winning their division. We're going to run out of time, so let's just switch over. We'll go to the next episode. Great job. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the Brothers of Broad Street podcast. You guys can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, etc. You can even find Bryce and I on Instagram, Twitter, anything. We'll be posting, tweeting, everything like that. And we appreciate you guys' support. And let's switch over. We'll go next episode. Let me just hold on.